Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, here we go. It's Variety Week on the channel. We're trying some different settings, seeing if we can have a little bit of fun with some different maps or some different settings in this game. This is Highland, I believe. We're going to see BacT v Lyx, both of these guys playing as Franks. Hey, I mean, it's a beautiful game, but, started to feel like my channel was a little bit too much 1v1 Arabia. So we're going to have some team games added in this week. We're going to have some different maps that you're not used to and even some different settings. Should be fun. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Killer B. So BacT and Lyx, these guys know each other really, really well. Lyx at the moment is hovering around the 2200 mark, giving a lot of players a run for their money lately. Playing some really great series against the Viper. BacT, Tim, Lyx is playing a lot and has really been quite impressive. BacT on the other side, though, coming in at 2357. Ratings-wise is probably I think he's the better player here. However, that is mostly from 1v1 Arabia games that these guys will be playing. Today, we're going to see Highland. Highland has this nice river in the middle. One bridge to cross that center. One bridge to rule them all. One bridge to bind them. Anyway, wow, that was terrible. Remind me not to say that again. Anyway, so there's a lot of opportunity to land this area. You can fish it. Sometimes we see that. But yeah, mostly players want to get their scout across this bridge. And if they can, they want to wall it off, palisade it off very early to stop their opponent's scout from getting over the bridge. It's really the win or lose sort of magnitude. That scout crossing the bridge is such a big deal. If you know your opponent's doing something, but they don't know what you're doing, that can really be a huge game changer. 3 onward early for Lyx, 4th villager going over there. Probably going to see both players wall up that center area and fast castle, but yeah, you never know. Because of that possibility, I think we'll go through this one at an elevated rate. And if they decide to do something a little bit different and quirky, then we'll slow down. But as usual, players scouting around trying to find their initial resources. You got to find those sheep, got to find the boars. A little bit of extra food. See a deer patch right here beside the blue player. There is also, resource positioning. Usually that'd be something we'd be very worried about. But one would expect that center area to get blocked off, like I said. BacT here is forward early. He's going to drop a house and probably finish walling this off before that villager goes anywhere. But first things first, looks like he's going to drop a dock. Let's see. BacT, for the moment, will drop a dock. Okay. Docking that center area is nice. You can fish. You can also build galleys and fight for this center area. Sometimes we see some really interesting play on this center bit of water. I'm reminded of a Tato game with Mega Random that was a map generation like this with some amazing demo ship action. Check that out. I'm going to plug my own version of that. Pretty sure I uploaded that here. Damn good game. Okay, for the moment, both players just getting fishing ships out, getting their ecos in order, luring in boars and all the like. So yeah, Franks v Franks on Highland. Usually castle positioning is important in these games. Getting up to Imperial Age early, shooting your trebs across these waters is sometimes something that we see. Landings aren't that uncommon. Transport ships not that expensive. If you can land your opponent in some weird position where they're not going to expect it, and then maybe even just run to the corner somehow, you can always boom up on their island a bit of a military. I guess boom is the wrong word, but you can build a military. Oh boy, this is important. BacT is going to be one. Ooh, Lyx is going to go back. Oh man. I would have to say, I don't know who wins this game, but I would say there's an 80% chance that BacT wins right now because his scout gets across. That is if he doesn't throw it away. Okay, yeah, it looks like for now he's actually going to go back, but BacT has blocked this area off. He's going to send his scout home. This is a really interesting move. Yeah, it's just my bias. My personal bias is that if you get across that center area and you can scout your opponent when they can't scout you, you have a massive advantage. Anyway, feudal age coming for both players. BacT will go up on 20. Lyx will go up on 21. So pretty aggressive builds. Villagers moving over to gold. So BacT is probably thinking about galleys. I'm not inside of his head, but I would assume. And Lyx doing the same sort of build. Lyx will have that extra villager, but BacT will have the first galley out. Both players adding in a second dock, and they seem to be all in for this big river push on the front. Back Scout for now is somewhere in his own base, I would think. Yeah, he's still scouting his own side of the map. Ooh boy, I'm not going to harp on it. I would have loved to see him get across the island, or get across to his opponent's side, but Lyx will have that closed in. Lyx had the higher HP scout. It's not a big deal, but man, love me some scouting, man. Anyway, third dock coming in for BacT. He's going to start pumping out galleys from 2 docks for the moment. Lyx is just a wee bit behind. He'll have his galleys out soon. It's not going to be open season on his fishing ships just yet. BacT is immediately going to send his first galley to the other side. Where is he going? Okay. I think he had his boats tasked to go fish this area. So his first galley went out to kind of the wrong place. Lyx here is going to lure in those first 2 galleys. No, he's not. BacT's going to be pretty wise here and just wait. 3 docks, though. BacT should be able to eventually win the water here. Lyx for the moment, just getting a few more ships in his docks before he jumps out. Looks like BacT will grab those galleys. Let's just slow this down for a moment. Looks like we've got 3 on gold for Lyx for now. He is building up his eco. He's 1 villager ahead of BacT, but he is probably most importantly just on 2 docks. BacT on the other side, obviously triple docks. He is going to have not all 3 of those working at the moment. Not quite keeping them all going, but BacT for now is starting to idle and actually kill some of the fishing eco here from Lyx. Lyx is in an interesting spot. He feels like he's lost the momentum on the water very, very early in this game. He's lost his fishing. BacT is still fishing very happily. And Lyx back at home. He's going to have 3 galleys, and that is it. He's not producing any more for the moment. So I think Lyx is going to break the wrist and walk away here. I think he's going to have to call it a day and just give up on the water for the moment. See if he can maybe get to the castle age before his opponent. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle. BacT here did pour a lot of resources into his navy, but he's got 4 fishing ships, and he is getting quite a lot of relatively inexpensive food. Fishing ships are really nice. Fishing ships are really nice. That's a Killer Bee quote for you right there. Killer Bee, master of the obvious. Anyway, for now, we'll zoom our way through this. BacT is still cranking out galleys as fast as he can. He's still got just the 4 fishing ships. He could build more if he wanted to, but it's not that good, useful of a thing to have because the Center River is not really that, it's not that great of waters to be fishing in. Lyx on his side is still scouting around, grabbing sheep, figuring everything out, getting it all going. He'll put a barracks down here. Lyx here is going to think about a little bit of a terrestrial army at some point. I don't think it's going to be now. My guess would be that he is going to wait a little bit until he gets to the castle age. But we'll see. Stable coming down for now. Going to have the building soon. Going to have a wheelbarrow soon. And the resources will eventually get there for Lyx. BacT's not going to be... he's a bit behind. I don't think he's going to be that far behind because of his fishing ships. I think he will have a really nice food boost compared to his opponent. But it seems as though Lyx will be the first one up. BacT back at home is adding in houses. He's getting ready to probably be landed at some point in this game, just walling off the back area with some houses, putting down some outposts in the corners and kind of in some weird spots. That's exactly where you would want to try to get to not be discovered by your opponent. You can cross this area, you can blow up the transport ship, you can blow up the dock, and you can surprise your opponent sometimes. Really, really fun to see pro players do that. And that's got to be something that Lyx has on his mind. He's got to find a way to win a game where he's lost the center of the map. Anyway, for the moment, Lyx will not be on stone by the looks of it, so he's not going to try to aggressively put down a castle. Sometimes you can put a castle here and build a few docks around that castle. Your opponent can't stop you because of your castle position. But here it is going to be a dock. It's going to be a transport ship, I would assume. But it could be a rebuild of his navy. We'll see. BacT, after killing 2 docks of his opponent, is going to build a transport ship of his own, and he's going to start sailing the waters and looking for his opponent. Lyx is going to dock both sides of the map in hopes of getting a transport ship out. If BacT is smart here, and he really is, he should be sending galleys up to the edge of the map just to make sure. Looks like BacT will start adding in his own dock. So yeah, for now, Lyx trying to get a transport ship out, but it seems like a doomed venture. He's going to actually cancel that before it gets completed. BacT will land Lyx first. He's going to have 5 archers chilling in the economy of the blue player. That's annoying, but it's not going to be that useful because we are going to see a knight or 2 pop out of here in just a moment. BacT will idle a lot of eco. At the moment, he doesn't have any upgrades on his archers at all. So they're not going to take down knights. But he's done a little bit of idling. He's still got the momentum in this game. Excuse me. And he owns the water. In the meantime, the blue player is going to add in a second TC. His knight is out. He's going to see if he can actually add in a third TC. That one feels a little bit greedy because BacT's archers are just roaming around somewhere in the back corner. But fortunately for Lyx, he will get 3 TCs down by the looks of it. BacT will find the dock on the bottom. He'll find this dock as well. Transport ship is out. Villager is across, and he's going to build up a lumber camp on that side. That is really, that's really not an exciting building at all. BacT will stonewall that area, continue to block it off, and he's just playing this game really wisely. I mean, if you win the water, your opponent has to land you. They have to either build a castle and try to reboom their navy, or they have to land you. And in this case, Lyx seems to be going for the landing strategy, and it doesn't seem to be working. BacT 1 step ahead of his opponent for the moment. Knight runs in, kills a couple archers. Looks like Lyx will pull that knight away. That's a pretty wise move. Go back home and heal it up. No need to try to kill all these archers in one push, so not so bad. But yeah, at the moment, we're 24 minutes in. We've been going at an elevated rate, and we've seen BacT really have a nice start to this game. Frank Knights coming out for Lyx. More and more of those will be on the way. +1 defense on those. Chain barding also on the way. Lyx is not going to be able to push the center island. Not yet, but he can at some point. Oh boy. BacT will clean up that Vil, who built a lumber camp. What? Lyx crosses the ocean, builds a lumber camp with his 1 villager, and then that villager dies. It just seems like an incredible waste. But hey, what are you going to do? Lyx will basically be thinking about knights, thinking about having a really beefy land army, and he can still storm this island. I mean, he can, now that BacT is going to knock down that wall, Lyx can run some knights in here and try to do some damage. BacT mostly walled up. But these crossbows, +2 damage, they're not going to have that much to say to +2 knights. The only problem is there's only 6 of these knights on the field. That's really not the number that I expected from Lyx at the moment. But yeah, he's focused on booming. BacT will focus on keeping his opponent in check. The orange player is adding in another TC to the side. He's going to add in a siege workshop on his side of the map, which is interesting. But for now, a 2 TC build. Yeah, BacT is going to roll in here. These knights, there's just 2 of them, are going to go down for pretty cheap. 2 more coming from the other side. Let's see if Lyx can maybe do something here, but I just don't know. He doesn't really seem to have the numbers. He's going to lose a lot of knights in this fight. Lyx doing a pretty good job to hide the pickle, if you will. I don't think that's an expression that applies at all to AOC. But he was doing a good job to hide the lowest HP knight or 2 that he had. In the end, he will reinforce and continue to fight here, but losing a lot more military than I expected. If he could have run in with 6 knights together, he wins that fight a lot easier. We're going to see a few of those knights die. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 dead knights there. But nonetheless, Lyx is booming up a bit. 12 villagers ahead of his opponent, starting to get the knight count a little bit higher as he goes forward through the game. BacT still owns the water, but he's probably mostly fished out. Not really. There's still some fish here and there. He will eventually fish this entire area out, but he will get a ton of almost free food for his trouble of controlling the water. Galleys still roaming around. We're not going to see a whole lot more on water for the time being. Looks like these two players are just booming up. They're playing a little defensively. Lyx starting to take some stone. You know, you can win the water. You can be ahead in the game. But your opponent can still kind of rest back on his laurels and try to boom his way out of the problem. And that's what Lyx is going for at the moment. So because of the slow nature of this grind, we will see if an elevated speed makes sense. I like Lyx's 2 docks. He built one on the bottom and one on the top. He tried to be sneaky. You know, if it were me playing against him, I would find the one dock and I would think I stopped the landing. So his dock up here was pretty sneaky, but his transport brought this villager across, and BacT knew about it, walled that villager from really doing anything. And it was pretty much no bueno. In the meantime, we are going to see some monks added in here from BacT. Gotta love the monk addition. Also a couple of spearmen. Lyx is really one-dimensional right now, so he's really not equipped to deal with an army like this from BacT. But Lyx will click up first, actually potentially by quite a lot. His eco is 16 villagers ahead. Seems to be grabbing relics, seems to be doing pretty nicely. But we'll see. We will see. BacT at the moment still has the initiative. Quite a few crossbows here roaming in. He's not going to get a conversion, but he will grab one of those knights for now. Ballistics on the way for BacT. He's going to continue to try to push with a bit of an army. Hasn't really paid huge dividends, his land army, yet. But this is a pretty nasty looking group. Gonna camp out on the hill. Gotta keep those spearmen out of range of the TC. Absolute waste if you lose them to TC arrow fire. Gonna keep Lyx's attention. Force him to add a second stable in. But Lyx will add in a 4th TC as well. So Lyx is full on trying to boom his way out of this game. Both players saving up some stone for a castle. BacT might try to drop his castle on Lyx's side of the map if he wants to. But I don't think he will want to. I think Lyx will be in the Imperial Age, and BacT will be very convinced not to go and waste a castle versus an Imperial opponent. Okay, so for the moment, we are still speeding through this game. BacT is still controlling water. He's got some crossbowmen on land. He's camping out on this hill in the middle of the economy of Lyx. Lyx is going to run in here with 7 knights. We do hear a monk active, but that is Lyx's monk. Not sure what he's converting. Maybe one of these crossbows. But it looks like for the moment, the blue player will clear up his island. The blue player will clear up his island. Crossbowmen going down pretty quickly. 1 knight in here from BacT. I think that might be a convert from earlier. I'm not sure. Have to see if BacT has added in a stable. But these crossbows are going to go down for relatively cheap. And Lyx, yeah, not really free booming his way out of this game anymore. He's 5 villagers ahead of BacT. BacT has really put a lot of energy into building up his economy on his side of the map. Looks like at least 3 TCs. The difference, though, is that BacT has not even clicked to Imperial yet, and Lyx is already up. Lyx is already up. BacT is on 70. He's on 100 food at the moment. Really not in a position to click up to Imp anytime soon. Castle comes up for Lyx, and he's going to build docks in the shadow of that castle. That's going to stop BacT from denying these docks. It will allow Lyx to try to take the water. War galley on the way. And the blue player is making his move, man. The problem is, in the meantime, BacT is going to make a bit more of a push on land. He's adding in some knights, not quite as good as the knights of his opponent, but some relatively beefy knights that could run into this eco. I mean, if they can find one of the weaker points here, maybe like this back corner, be some really good harassment, some really good villager picks. So, for the moment, we'll see BacT switching a little bit to fighting on land. We'll see Lyx switching his focus to fighting on water. Fast fire ship on the way for Lyx. Plate barding armor on the way. Going to out-tech his opponent BacT for quite some time. BacT is starting to get closer on food, but he's certainly not within striking distance. He'll click up soon. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we're going to see 5 or 6, maybe even more villagers going down. Gotta love some villager carnage from time to time. Nice little bit of raiding from BacT. Lyx will eventually push this away, and both players will leave this fight on 102 Vils. 102 Vils, baby. It is a dead heat at the moment. Fast fires coming out from Lyx. Those counter the War Galleys pretty nicely. Imperial Age on the way from BacT. And for the moment, BacT is still trying to keep his opponent annoyed, taking away that front gold, keeping pressure on with a couple of archers. Villager count still dead even, but Lyx is really starting to clean up his side. And he's going to have a couple of minutes before BacT gets up to do something. Demo ships added in from BacT to take down those fast fires. Looks like he doesn't need to... Okay, kind of a waste of a demo. Castle would have done the job. But nonetheless, both players building castles on the banks of this river. Problem with that is that Trebs can certainly reach across here. So you got to be a little bit cautious. If your opponent wins the Treb war, you could be in a lot of trouble. BacT is keeping pressure on, though. He's kept this center island controlled. He's still got quite a few war galleys, even though he's only in the castle age. He's got numbers, so his opponent can't take the water back just yet. That's allowing him to send forward a group after group of knights and crossbows with a couple of monks. Yeah, all in all, not too bad. Lyx, at the moment, floating an absolute crapload of resources. Soon to be another castle coming from him. He's got the food, he's got the gold to build a lot of knights if he wants to. But I'm not sure what he wants to do. Oh boy, I can see what he wants to do. Lyx landing on BacT's island and trying to build a quick castle. The war galleys from BacT will come and deny that. Okay, that would have been a big moment for Lyx. I think if he got that down, it would have been a pretty interesting situation. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. 110 Vils apiece. Imperial Age still coming from BacT. Lyx will go Cavalier here in a moment. Let's see, Monk's able to grab a convert there for the orange player. Looks like he will probably win this fight for the moment. Lyx is adding in more and more knights, though. Has that nice reinforcement advantage. Monk's just healing up those knights as quickly as they're taking damage. A couple of pikemen coming in to help sway this fight in BacT's direction. Unfortunately, they are not really focused on the fight. They're not paying the proper attention here. They'll get in here a little bit too late, and the knights from Lyx will win the day. BacT still with a nice unit composition here. He can use those pikes as a meat shield. However, Cavalier coming in for the blue player can probably win this fight anyway. Castle coming down for Lyx in a defensive position. He's going to have to delete this castle on top at some point. Maybe. Fast fire ships are back on the water. Another transport coming for Lyx. He's going to try to land this and maybe quick wall those villagers in so they can finish the castle. Lyx making a push toward Paladin at the moment. And we'll see. We'll see if this works. One player focused on crossing the land bridge. The other player focused on trying to make a really clever landing. Oh no. Lyx had a moment there, maybe. Yeah, he's going to pull the transport ship back and use fast fires on those knights. It's going to take an absolute crap load of time to kill knights with fast fire ships, but for the moment, Lyx just waiting for his opportunity to cross. He's going to cross now with Cavalier in a second transport ship, and he's going to see if he can push BacT away and finish this castle. A lot of time and energy invested right now for Lyx to try to make this castle go up. Demo ships coming en masse from the orange player. Those can kill villagers with splash damage on land. But it looks like they won't be killing those Vils. Transport ship will survive for the moment and then die. Cavalier, though, coming now across from Lyx. BacT is going to come in here and try to drop his own castle. This is an interesting moment. Lyx has a lot of Cavalier here. He's going to reinforce quickly. BacT's only on 34%. And I don't know. There's enough Cavalier here to do a lot of damage. BacT will come over with Halbs, and he will make sure to get his castle up first. Lyx almost... I think Lyx has enough Cavalier here to deny that castle if it were not for the Halbs. But really nice play from BacT. Really good timing. Both players going kind of all in to try to win that part of the map. Cavalier raiding will begin to the north, but this castle will go up. And BacT for the moment will... He'll control that area. Lyx is going to have to delete this castle to save a little bit of stone, I think. Paladin comes in. Halberdier, really not that great versus Paladin, right? Paladin pretty damn beefy. However, Halb's a really good natural counter for the moment. They will clean up a couple Paladin to the south. BacT is doing a really good job to corner those Paladin. I was about to say that I thought Lyx would get in a lot of damage because, you know, usually when your economy is so big, those Paladin just run through your eco, and the Halbs, because they're a little bit slow, they don't really get that many shots in. But hey, BacT able to corner his opponent's Paladins. He's still pushing on the center island. Trebs are coming out for BacT at the moment. Looks like we will see Mr. Lyx going into an archery range. That's interesting. Kind of a late game change of plan, but maybe trying to add in some skirmishers to win the fight versus these crossbows. Demo ships from BacT on the center area. He's going to slowly poke away at this castle foundation. BacT's done a really nice job with his houses here to get a visual of that entire part of the island. And once again, BacT has kind of wrestled control of this game away from his opponent. Lyx is getting honey-dicked into sending Paladins right onto the spears of Halberdier here. But he kind of has to. He has to get in and stop those Trebs. Losing this castle would be a really big deal. And yeah, he's just trying to find a way to get over there. Really nice use of trash from BacT at the moment. Really balanced economy from the orange player. He's got enough stone for a couple of castles. Lyx on the other side is also doing okay. Floating a lot of food at the moment. Not quite the amount of gold that his opponent has. Ooh, we aren't going to... How about that noise? We aren't going to see elite skirm here. We're going to see hand cannons. Hand cannons will do great against the halves from BacT. And it actually looks like Lyx got up the number of Paladin to push through, even though he's pushing directly through counters. He's going to push through there, knock down his opponent's Trebs, and for the moment, Lyx's castle survives. This game was like 5 breaths away from GG, but Lyx able to kill those Trebs, able to turn the tables, and he at least has a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Hand cannons coming out from a couple of ranges. They will slowly but surely mass up. A couple Trebs unpacking to put a little pressure on BacT's castle. BacT will come in with another big group of units. He's been doing a good job of not sending them in a long, slow line so they can get chewed up. Sending them in big yellow bunches. Your lies are like bananas. Come in big yellow bunches. At the moment, those Trebs will go down. BacT's castle will probably stand for now. Paladin have to get out of dodge. There's just too many halbs here. BacT has gone to Cavalier, but notably not to Paladin, so he can't really fight toe-to-toe with his opponent's Paladins if they're equal in number. Barracks coming in now, and we are going to see halbs and hand cannons and a couple of bombard cannons from the blue player. Nice mix of units like the Diversity. It's a very famous ship on the ocean, the Diversity. At the moment, we will see this castle still getting whittled away. BacT making a push on land once again. Lyx's unit composition here is good. It's actually a pretty winning combination. The problem is he lost the water so early, and he's lost kind of control of the map, and BacT still controls the land bridge. Any fight that gets close to the water is going to have to fight with a couple of BacT ships. Although BacT at the moment, just with 1 or 2 ships. Elite skirm on the way, masonry, leather archer armor on the way. Looks like BacT is ready to make another push, building up those units into a nice little group, and he's going to send them in. More docks coming from BacT as well. Very interesting. Very interesting. Orange player at the moment is still the aggressor in this match, but he just really can't get Lyx into a point where it's GG. Lyx just still has a really good fighting chance at this point. Couple stone walls from the blue player, blocking the army from going left, forcing them into this channel to the right. Hand cannons up on the hill, starting to mass up in more and more numbers. Couple of Trebs coming out for the blue player, but I don't think they're in range of BacT's Trebs. So for now, this castle is going to be under a lot of pressure. 2 trebs throwing in stones. Lyx will slowly dwindle down his stone count. Has a lot of food and wood. Can build a lot of trash. But look at BacT. BacT at the moment can drop a couple of castles, and he can build knights all day. If he wants to. It's going to be a couple galleons added into the mix. More trebs unpacking as we speak. BacT is trying to deliver the win here. He'll run in and take down his opponent's trebs. This castle is under a lot of pressure. Not sure why BacT is going in right now, to be honest, but he's going to run right into this area, and he's going to take this fight. Hand cannons on the hill, castle arrow fire also flying in, and it looks like Lyx is going to win the day. It was kind of Lyx's job to go push in at BacT's trebs. BacT's trebs are just, you know, they're working away at this castle. But BacT went in first, which was kind of strange, and he took an uphill fight, and he's going to lose his whole area here. And this could be a moment where Lyx could turn the game around. BacT, though, with quite a few galleons on the water, and he's going to clean up some hand cannons with those. He's going to make it really hard for Lyx to come across this channel in the center. There's just too many ships firing, too many flaming huge arrows. Just really not going to go so well. So neither player able to push into the other too well at the moment. It seems like a very defensive fight. Heavy demo ship will come right to the edge, trying to get damage on that treb, but it's not going to happen just yet. And yeah, we'll have to see. This is going to be an uphill battle for Lyx to get back onto the water. But for now, hand cannons on the hill are certainly going to hold. Man, we're almost an hour in here. It seems like it's been BacT's game to win for quite some time, but one misstep, and I think Lyx can maybe take it over. We'll see. Lyx at the moment not nearly floating the resource that BacT has. BacT just holding on to that stone. It's actually pretty strange to me that he hasn't dropped another castle. But tons of stone, quite a lot of gold, tons of food. Lyx on the other side, he's doing okay. Plenty of food and wood, can build a lot of trash. Probably still building some hand cannons here and there. This game has devolved into a stalemate. Highlands is kind of one of those maps where it's a little bit hard to knock your opponent out. BacT here is slowly but surely controlling the map, controlling resources, keeping pressure on his opponent. And he should squeeze out a win eventually, but you never know. That's why we watch the game. Lyx is building some fast fire ships on the bottom, still has stone to mine, still taking the last remnants of that front gold. Elite Skirm starting to come in for BacT, and he's going to have a really nice advantage with these galleons. Galleons hanging out on the water. BacT will eventually kill that castle. Looks like he might even take down Lyx's trebs. Lyx for the moment has a good number of units in this channel, but they're just being fired on from all sides. Colonel Custard's last stand here. Looks like these units are totally surrounded, taking a ton of damage from the galleon. Maybe a couple rams coming out from Lyx, trying to tank some of that arrow fire, but it might be too late. BacT coming forward with a siege workshop, not a castle, and we will see Lyx slowly lose some of the front of his base. Villager count's still incredibly high. Both players still have really strong economies to fight with. Lyx is trying to make a little bit of a fast fire ship push on the water, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the numbers up in time. Light cavalry on the way for BacT. He's going to start to try to push in. I don't think Franks get Hussar. I'm pretty sure they don't, so that will be the max that we see for that trash unit. Husbandry on the way as well. Treb fire trying to rain in and hit this cannon, but pretty good micro from Mr. Lyx for the moment. And he's going to grab one treb there, and maybe even the second if BacT isn't careful. A couple of ships coming over to put pressure on that cannon, I would think. But yeah, BacT is going to lose both of his trebs. He lost at least 2 trebs to that cannon. Anyway, for the moment, the battle rages on here in the center. BacT has to find a way to win this game. He's certainly leading in the game. He's got the bigger military. He's got the higher score. He's got a ton of resource in the bank. 2k gold, 1.5k stone. But he still has to find a way to win. You can't just have the advantage. You have to use the advantage. Galleon coming for the blue player, trying to reboom his navy on the right side of the map. In the meantime, he's still clinging to this hill. He's lost that castle. It was a very important castle that he lost. But at least for now, adding in elite skirms, still has the bombard cannon on top of the hill. Still has a chance. Not a good chance, but he's living on a prayer at the moment. Alright, let's see. BacT making a push in, keeping his cannons within range of the Galleon. Going to lure his opponent's trash in. A couple of elite skirms there, throwing in some javelins from time to time. Yeah, and mostly these halbs are going to get cleaned up for really cheap. They just can't get close enough to BacT's army. BacT is kind of dictating the fight at the moment. Starting to add in some light cav as he works his way forward. Ready to maybe run past this army. Maybe even around the right side here to do some light cav raiding. Needs to find a way to take this number of 133 vills from Lyx down just a little bit. Looks like first BacT will run in and kill a monk, and then he will run past this army on top of the hill and start raiding. Just a couple light cav for now. Needs to keep those rolling in. Bombard cannons continuing to come in. Couple of rams popping out from Lyx. He can chase those cannons down in the slowest and least interesting race you'll ever see. Looks like the bombard cannons are just a little bit faster. Looks like the rams will probably go down without getting any. And BacT will continue to knock this front area down from his opponent. Maybe as important is the fact that he's got a couple light cav inside of the blue eco. I'd love to see about 8 more of those, but yeah, they're coming. They're coming slowly. BacT will get the job done here, but he's focusing a lot of his attention, I think, on this big push on the front. Needs to get up on top of that hill. He's going to try to castle drop his opponent. Probably 15 villagers here. Lyx can't stop the castle. He can't stop the push. He was never really in the lead in this game from the get-go. Really clean game from BacT. Really nice win. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, it's Variety Week. We're going to see if we can do a couple of different settings. See if we can have some fun on some different maps and maybe see some more team games this week. But yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in the next couple of games. Feel free to leave a comment, say hello. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm Killer B. Much love. Bye.